And welcome. All right. I am about 5 minutes early, and that is purposeful because it always takes everyone a few minutes to get the notifications and to find out that I am, in fact, live. So rather than like belaboring the whole starting at 7 and then having to wait for everyone to get here, I came on early. But not without reason. So, hi, say hello when you get here. Tell me where you're watching from. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook. Um, and hopefully tonight, like it will be somewhat enlightening. We're going to talk about some of the conditions. So, two of my people in Hidden Wisdom asked about certain conditions: alopecia, shingles, chickenpox, broken heart syndrome, which is a very interesting one. I was actually really happy that someone asked about it because not many people even know what that is. They think it's psychological, neurological. And while it can be symptoms of that, it's not what it actually is. So I'm kind of excited to talk about all of this tonight, as well as healing from um, heart failure and stuff like that. Mr. Andy's on YouTube. Hi, Mr. Andy. You're always early or on time. You're on time. The energy has been incredibly interesting. October is an interesting month, right? And this I was watching some videos earlier thinking, holy cow, what is happening right now? But just to give you guys a few minutes to get here, I am here early. It was no mistake. I usually do these health sessions on Zoom for my Hidden Wisdom program or group membership. Hidden Wisdom is a monthly membership, and it's a vault of all kinds of information for your personal growth, your spiritual growth, body, mind, and spirit, but physical stuff too. Like we've been doing health classes because part of my practice is natural health and healing. So a lot of people want to take control of their health. And at this time, with insurance rates going through the roof and the uncertainty of whether or not people can actually afford to continue to keep their insurance, I, for one, am probably going to let mine go. I didn't have insurance until 2024 when I got cancer. And I was over 20 something years without it. I just paid out of pocket when I needed to go to the doctor and have procedures, and it was actually cheaper for me to do that. But not everybody can do that, and a lot of people are scared. So a big part of my focus right now is trying to educate people, educate you to take control of your health. And there are ways. There are always ways. There are always solutions. I don't believe that we were put on this planet, and I get we've polluted the planet. We've got environmental toxins. We've got problems with food, and everything's about money, right? Weird vibrations. Can't ignore. Need to meet them head on and move on. Still weird nonetheless. Yeah. It is weird. And my allergies are acting up. High pollen today in Texas. So hopefully my breathing and allergies stay consistent. But like I said, I normally do these health sessions where we go over what are the drivers to certain conditions on my Hidden Wisdom platform. And if you like are interested in developing your intuition, learning more mindset routines, more about like even how to read the tarot, how to do astrology, numerology, like it's all there. That vault is packed full of on-demand classes, on-demand videos. There's a prosperity class. Um, there's a lot in there, and things get added every month, so it's always up to date. But on top of that, every month on the first, I do a monthly forecast of the energy, both astrology and um, tarot for each of the elements. So fire, water, earth, air, every month on the first. But then, and this is the most valuable part, I do live coaching for everyone in that group on a Zoom on the third Wednesday night of every month. I do it in the evenings so that people can attend if, you know, if they're working during the day. And then all of it's on replay. So there's always good information that comes through. One of the things, Andy's in my program, Charm Life, he's also in Hidden Wisdom, and he always says, I learn more in the group, not just when I'm coaching him specifically, but like other people in the group. You learn from their questions, their comments, and the stuff that comes through for them. So this is pretty powerful. And it's only $40 a month, $10 a week. Really affordable. The most affordable way to come work with me, and to gain from all of the things that I've learned throughout my life and through all of my studies and all of my skills and expertise. So check it out. All you have to do, and I'll put up the link, hold on, for y'all. If you want to check out Hidden Wisdom, just go to my website, bernadettegold.com/hidden wisdom, or click on classes, or personal, and it will take you there where you can check out what all's in Hidden Wisdom. You can cancel at any time. But tonight, I told my Hidden Wisdom people I'm going to do this live because I think some of these conditions, these health conditions, are things that a lot of people have questions about. I've done other videos about the pathogen drivers of disease. So we're kind of going to take it from that track tonight. Like what do we need to look for? Or what is really causing these things? But I'm open to whatever questions you guys have. If I go through something and you don't understand it, ask a question, ask a question. I've been doing natural health stuff for, God, it's almost 30 years, but I've been helping other people for over 25 years. So yeah, there's that. And I know a lot. I don't know everything. And I'll tell you if I don't, right? Because why pretend that I am a God of all knowledge? I'm not. We all know what we know. Okay. So first of all, is Sandy here? I know we've got one on YouTube and we've got Facebook going. Sandy sent in these. Hey, Ashley, how are you, girl? It's good to see you. See, I started like 5 minutes early because notifications take a minute to go out that I'm live. But I haven't started yet. But I wanted to know if Sandy's here because she sent in the initial list, which is why I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just do this. Thank you, Mr. Andy. Andy says, best investment ever for Hidden Wisdom. Group is so supportive, and I do learn more in the group setting when we share our commonalities. We learn and grow together in a judgment-free environment. I like that too. Like, seriously, I like it too. And I think it's powerful when we come into a group. All right. Hold on. I want to take this one away. Like distracting little things scrolling on the screen. All right. So Sandy put in a list of things, and anytime someone sends questions or topics and they have questions, I am super happy because then I know what you guys want to know. I've covered a lot of drivers of some of the more chronic conditions, but she wanted to know about alopecia, hair thinning, right? Alopecia, it can be caused by autoimmune. There's other things that can cause it. There are some genetic things as well. However, the biggest part of alopecia most of the time is undiagnosed pathogens. Epstein-Barr, no surprise, I swear to God, Epstein-Barr shows up in so many chronic conditions and troubling conditions, but it's just one of them, one of the pathogens. Epstein-Barr virus is one of them. It has one of the strongest viral associations with alopecia, hair loss. Chronic Epstein-Barr reactivation has been found in a lot of alopecia patients and with autoimmune conditions. In Korea, in Turkey, and German studies, they have linked Epstein-Barr. Epstein-Barr virus antigens activate immune cells that mistakenly target hair follicles, right? I see this a lot with any kind of autoimmune thing where, like, you're told, well, your immune system's attacking your body. Well, there's a reason for it, though. There's literally a reason for it. So tell me what's wrong and how do we fix it? Viruses, unfortunately, there's not a lot of pharmaceuticals that treat them. There's a few antivirals, but most of them are ineffective against Epstein-Barr. So then you have to do something naturally. Hey, Animals Alliance, welcome, welcome in. Okay, so the second virus for alopecia that you have to know of besides Epstein-Barr is CMV, cytomegalovirus. That is something that is found in like viral DNA, will occasionally be found of cytomegalovirus is if they do a scalp biopsy. And CMV can trigger T cell cross reactivity. Now, some of this stuff I get, you guys probably aren't going to understand. So I just want to go through the main pathogens, though, especially for those who do biomagnetism therapy, or you've got Rife, or you're interested in those things. These are the pathogens that cause these conditions. Sandy happens to be an advanced biomagnetism practitioner. A lot of people just find it fascinating and interesting because your doctor never tells you what causes what you have. They just tell you a diagnosis, right? Some doctors do. Integrative functional doctors are great because they go root cause. Wild thing, a couple weeks ago, had to take Robin to the ER because it was a weekend. For the first time ever, the ER doctor mentioned Epstein-Barr when talking to us about having strep again. Epstein-Barr and strep are best friends. Like anytime someone has like symptoms or a condition that I know Epstein-Barr is a driver, the very next thing I check is strep. Do they have strep? Have they had recurrent ear infections, recurrent strep and sore throat? Like if you have, chances are you have EBV. And if you've never been tested for it, that would be why. But there are things you can do naturally, and we'll talk about that later. All right. The other viruses that have to be looked at for alopecia is Hep B and Hep C viruses. A lot of the Asian studies showed autoimmune alopecia after hepatitis, after someone got hepatitis. Sorry, here's another one, SARS-CoV-2, COVID. There's been increasing reports and studies of post-COVID alopecia, hair loss, flares, and viral immune disruption can actually reactivate Epstein-Barr or CMV or both. And then you experience hair loss and hair thinning, and you're like, what is going on? How many people had COVID? A ton of people did. So that's another one of those things, right? HPV, human papillomavirus, has been detected in hair follicles in some of the smaller studies. So it's unclear if it's a causal virus, HPV, but they have found it in their studies. So we go to bacteria, right? Start a virus. Now we're going to go to bacteria when it comes to alopecia. Here's an interesting one. H. pylori. H. pylori has been shown in studies in patients in Turkey and Japan that have alopecia. Now, Japan's really big on eradicating H. pylori, especially because some of the gastric cancers show H. pylori as one of the drivers, one of the causative factors. So when they eradicate H. pylori, sometimes it will trigger hair regrowth. You'd be surprised how many people in America I have seen struggle with H. pylori, and they get put on antibiotics and it destroys their stomach, and they got to be on a bunch of antibiotics, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and it takes forever. It's horrible. But that's another one of those things you need to look at if you've got alopecia. Staph aureus and Staph pyogenes is the two staph bacteria that can cause chronic skin problems, and can lead to hair loss as well. And then just gut dysbiosis. If you have not watched the video that I made on chronic pathogens or chronic disease and the hidden pathogens underneath them, go watch it, because that really gets into all of the differences between the US, Asia, and European countries, and how our testing differs and how different we are with how we treat things right here in the US. Hey, Brenda, how are you? It's good to see you. So, and I talked a lot in that video about gut dysbiosis. And that really is just, it's an imbalance of bacteria. We have good bacteria, we have not so good bacteria. We take so many probiotics in this country because so many people have had their gut screwed up with antibiotics, right? And your gut flora goes off. And if you are someone who's experienced some big viruses or illnesses, chances are your gut's probably needing some love. Just saying. All right. Periodontal bacteria can also be one of the things you need to look for as far as systemic load of any kind of bacteria. You wouldn't think mouth and hair. You wouldn't think gut and hair either. But these are the drivers. Like, these are the underlying factors that we have to look at. Even if you just have hair loss, hair thinning, not complete hair loss, like, I would start to investigate these things and start to ask questions and go back in your medical history of where your hair loss began, what was going on at that time, like what did it follow. Fungus. So these are things like candida, gut and scalp colonization of candida overgrowth, yeast overgrowth, can actually cause hair loss. There's another one called malassezia that is a yeast overgrowth as well, that causes oxidative stress on your hair follicles, making your hair fall out. So if you experienced it post-pregnancy, Bobby, chances are you, and this happens a lot if you have undiagnosed, untreated EBV, right? I see so many women, young women, that postpartum depression, hair loss, general unease. And I mean, for some people, in fact, one of my clients who has MS, her symptoms of MS began post-pregnancy, postpartum. And so one of the reasons is because your body, when you are pregnant, it's going to build a baby, a human being. And what, like, it's actively fighting against any kind of pathogen. Post-pregnancy, some of those activated or reactivated things, like Epstein-Barr seems to reactivate it on a high level post-pregnancy. Then you start to see hair thinning, right? Fatigue that doesn't go away, depression. And part of that has to do with the hormones, because a lot of times Epstein-Barr will feed on hormones. But you got to look at what are all of the pathogens. There is a couple other things, like trichophytones can trigger infections that mimic localized alopecia. So where you'll get like missing spots of hair. Another thing to look at. Parasites is another one of those things. Toxoplasma gondii, not a direct cause of alopecia, but it has been associated with the broader autoimmune dysregulation. So that's one that we have to look at as well. Mites can be an issue too, right? Most people, I don't think they're struggling with mites, but some people, they are. This is one of those things. So that's for alopecia. The additional things you have to look at, like if you have a thyroid disorder, hypothyroid, hyperthyroid, Hashimoto's, Graves', they can also show alopecia. Like you'll have hair thinning or hair loss, when you have undiagnosed, untreated thyroid disorders. So that's one thing. Vitamin D deficiency is commonly linked to poor um, follicle tolerance. So, are you taking your vitamin D, right? Stress and trauma, that creates sympathetic nervous activation and can trigger immune attacks on your follicles. Some people actually pull at their hair when they're stressed and they don't even realize they're doing it. And then heavy metals and mold are the next thing that we would have to look at. Like, do you have a lot of heavy metals? Have you ever detoxed from heavy metals? Chlorella, spirulina, those are good for heavy metals to help clear them out of the system. But I wouldn't just take that. Like, I would definitely look at other things on top of that, because we need to get your immune system going. And what caused it? Like, all of these things have to be looked at. So you have to look at your virus, your bacterias, your pathogens, and candida. Candida is a big one. Like, a lot of people do not think candida is going to cause hair loss, and it actually can. The thing is if you go after the cause, then you can have hair regrowth, even though maybe it's been going on for years. If you've had undiagnosed stuff, absolutely. All right. So the next one, which is a big one, a lot of people ask me about kidney stones. How many of you guys have dealt with a kidney stone in the past? We know that's renal, right? That's urinary, that's UTIs. But there's several viruses too that we have to look at. Epstein-Barr, I look at pretty much in any kind of chronic condition, sometimes the acute stuff as well. But mainly adenovirus is the one for kidneys that we would look at virus-wise. Then we get to the bacterias, and this is where you really need to look. E. coli is one of the leading causes of kidney stones and UTIs. E. coli can also drive other things, but it is a common pathogen they find in stones once they come out. Proteus mirabilis is another one, classic driver of the struvite stones. Klebsiella, Pseudomonas, Enterococcus, Staphylococcus, with recurrent UTIs and stones, that is definitely bacteria you need to look at and see, do I have these? And then fungus, candida. Again, candida. And then as far as parasites, if you have like chronic calcifications of stones, look and see if you've got parasites. There's a couple different parasites that and we're talking worms, that I would look at, but everybody's different and everybody carries different parasites. But that is a place where you absolutely need to look. I wish everybody would do parasite cleanses. Hi, Brenda. Okay. Tennis elbow, or like the joint inflammation of the elbow. She asked about that. So here's the viruses. Epstein-Barr, surprise, not surprise, right? Parvovirus B19, that is another that causes viral arthritis and can show up in that big tendon. Hepatitis B and C, you have to look if it's viral arthritis syndromes. And then we look at chikungunya. I can never say that word. You're doing a parasite cleanse. I love that. I'm off and on cycling right now with fenbenzanol because I'm doing a bunch of cleanup work and I'm on the Rife. Been on the Rife now for 3 weeks straight, and I'm cleaning out a lot. Anyways, chikungunya, dengue, and Ross River virus, those are also viruses you need to look at for that tennis elbow or golfer's elbow or whatever you want to call it. Hello, Muse. How are you? Okay, bacteria-wise, with the tennis elbow, strep pyrogenes, mycoplasma pneumonia, Borrelia, surprisingly, Lyme arthritis, and then look at chlamydia trachomatis and chlamydia pneumonia. I have found treating the pneumonias, the mycoplasma pneumonias, and pseudomonas actually clears not only tennis elbow, but I can't remember what it's called, behind the knee. Have you guys ever gotten those lumps behind your knee? You wake up and your knee behind your knee is kind of locked up and swollen. That's a pseudomona and pneumonia spot. That's a reservoir where they hide. So with magnets, I've been able to place on those points, clears really, really fast. Also check for candida, because candida can cause that tennis elbow, and that tennis elbow, or what some people call golfer's elbow, is actually an arthritis of sorts. There aren't really parasites associated with it. These are more, I think, bacterial driven, and sometimes virus driven, but more so than not, I've found bacteria. Okay, so let's get to the fun one. The one that I was actually excited someone asked about. Have you guys heard of broken heart syndrome? It is a form of cardiomyopathy. And it's fascinating, and it's very complex, right? Where emotional and physical stress temporarily actually stuns the heart, and it can mimic a heart attack. But the coronary arteries are often clear, so it isn't an actual heart attack. There are real mechanisms and infectious links to it. There's emotional physiology tied to it, but there's also like massive amounts of potential for recovery and healing. Okay. So what is it? It's a temporary weakening of the heart's main pumping chamber, usually the left ventricle. And I confirmed with the girl who sent me her list, was the person you're asking about actually diagnosed by a doctor? And the answer was yes. So with this temporary weakening of the heart, the main pumping chamber of the heart, it's often followed by acute emotional, physical stress. So there's a temporary weakening, then you have this either loss or a fear or a trauma, an accident, an illness, something happens. The heart balloons at the apex, the lower tip, and it resembles like an octopus, right? Octopus trap, Japanese octopus trap. And then it because of the symptoms, it sort of mimics heart problems. People go to the doctor and they go through all the tests, and the doctor will say like, it's not something that's actually wrong with your heart per se, but you definitely have symptoms of. So this broken heart syndrome, it's a real thing. It's not just like, oh my God, my heart was broken because I lost somebody. You have physical symptoms. It's a real thing. From a nervous system aspect, your sympathetic nervous system goes into overdrive, right? You kind of experience a shock and your system goes into overdrive, and a sudden flood of adrenaline, norepinephrine, and dopamine release, and it causes like toxic stress on the heart muscle cells. And then it can lead to calcium overload, oxidative stress, and then a temporary sort of stun of the myocardium. It's like in layman's terms, it would be described as the heart freezing in response to stress, in response to trauma. So that whole like broken heart syndrome, it literally, your heart is freezing. It's not pumping like normal because of these stressors. From the heart brain axis, especially the amygdala, you're going to see emergency signals that are sent to the vagus system, the vagus nerve, and the sympathetic system. Women over 50 are more affected than men, but men are affected, right? With women, a lot of times it's connected to like postmenopausal estrogen decline, but it's not just women. And in the case of the person that asked me about that, like what causes that? It was a man. So again, what causes it? The triggers can be emotional shock, grief, a trauma, a fear, a relationship that has gone off the rails, conflict, right? Something like that. Physically, what can trigger it? It could be surgery, an infection, chemotherapy can do it, an acute illness. And from an infectious standpoint, this might surprise you. There is a spike in broken heart syndrome since COVID, like a big spike of cases. So it can be brought on by the like sudden onset of inflammation due to some sort of an infection. Coxsackie virus, parvovirus, can also overlap and trigger it. And then also chronic bacterial infections can eventually trigger it because your body is in a state of trauma, infectious trauma. So those are the things that actually cause it. You can look at, like, as far as creating recovery, now we address Coxsackie, Parvo, COVID, EBV, CMV on the virus front. On the bacteria front, chlamydia pneumonia, which is vascular inflammation, right? That causes vascular inflammation and then can amplify stress responses. And while it doesn't have a direct role, always candida, check and see, or mold toxicity. Funny enough, mold toxicity can have this effect. People don't think in terms of like, why would my heart start having these issues? Like I'm having a heart attack from mold. Oh, it can. Weird, but true. So understand that the heart and brain connection are tightly connected through the vagus nerve and neurocardiac synapses. So this, while this is one of those sort of more rare conditions, that and people describe it like heart shocks, like they feel like their heart is getting shocked. A lot of times it follows some sort of a trauma, an emotional trauma, a big emotional fear, a big betrayal of some sort. It's not just all in their heads. Like, please understand, it's not just in their heads. Like their body's having a hard time, their sympathetic nervous system's having a hard time, like reacting. Coxsackie is about half an hour from here. I'm guessing it's named after that place. I don't know where they named that one. It's possible. The way they name viruses always kind of cracks me up. Like Epstein-Barr is one of those weird ones. Like where did you come up with that? But usually whoever discovered it, they're the ones that names it. Strangely enough. All right. So here's the good news with broken heart syndrome. The heart can recover completely from this. Recovery times anywhere from days to weeks, but they will monitor the heart, right? ECGs and echocardiograms and stuff like that. Sometimes they will prescribe things like beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, in the short term to reduce heart stress. And as long as you understand, because this is a temporary condition, it's not a chronic condition, don't stay on those meds if they're not necessary. From a holistic standpoint, magnesium, CoQ10, breathing exercises, Tai Chi, yoga, right? They will all support the mitochondrial repair. Things like ashwagandha and B complex vitamins are also going to support your stress response in your body. Vitamin D is another one that I think is super important. And then understand that, like, simple things, sound therapy can help with the vagus nerve. Like, anyone that has any kind of vagus nerve issue where you're in fight, flight, freeze, breathing, yoga, stretching, humming super good for the vagus nerve, because the vagus nerve literally is running through here. Hum, like, breathe. Any kind of heart-centered activity that's intentional is going to help. But grief processing is necessary. Talking to someone, go to therapy, get a coach, like, address whatever the shock was, and don't pretend like it doesn't exist, because that will just prolong your symptoms. And God knows you don't want it to be chronic, right? The heart is the seat of our coherence and our connection. It's super important we take care of our heart. So that one was like, that was a weird one, but also super fascinating. I like strange things. Chickenpox was one she asked about. Now, understand, y'all, do you guys know that chickenpox is in the herpes family? Yes or no? It is. Varicella zoster virus is what causes chickenpox. We always need to look, if someone has chickenpox, if they have Staph aureus, or any kind of strep, because those are secondary infections that go along with chickenpox. Right? A lot of times a kid will get chickenpox and that's all they have. But if they're not getting better fast enough, you have to look for Staph aureus and strep. And with the biomag community, the people that are into natural health, these are things that if I were you, I would check. Shingles is in the same family, right? You didn't know that about chickenpox? Had it when you were 7? Yeah. Well, shingles, and there's been a rise in shingles cases. Like, my daughter had shingles when she was 14. And the doctor was like, we don't see shingles in kids this young. And then I take her and they're like, nope, sure as hell, that's shingles. Yeah, there has been a rise of shingles in the last, I would say, 10 years for whatever reason. Shingles is from the varicella zoster virus as well. So if you even if you had chickenpox, a lot of people, especially old people, if they had chickenpox, they end up with shingles later. A lot of that is just reactivation of latent virus. It doesn't matter if you got it when you were a kid. You can get shingles later if you're exposed to chickenpox. And God only knows, like, how many kids, school-age kids, end up with chickenpox. Most kids get it by the time they're 5, 6 years old. Some later. But with shingles, again, look at strep, look at staph. There's some things you can do. Like shingles, they say, is like, you just got to work your way through it, right? There's no big treatment. Well, up your immune system. One of the things I did for her that worked really well to dry out those really itchy, pussy, nasty shingles was to put active apple cider vinegar on. And anytime you get a virus like this, I want to remind you, take activated charcoal to help your body clear this stuff out. Up your vitamin C, up your zinc, whatever you can do to help your body's immune system kick it even better. Oil of oregano with black seed from Micro Ingredients. This stuff, oregano oil is antimicrobial, right? It is strong and powerful. You can't stay on it. I did a whole video or a blog about the right way to take oil of oregano. It's super potent. You do not want to stay on it. You want to cycle on, cycle off, cycle on, cycle off, and take a binder like activated charcoal to help get all the die off out of your system. But I would definitely, if I had shingles, if it were me and I was your mother, I would tell you, take oil of oregano, take some activated charcoal a couple days in, help your body process and then up your immune system in whatever way possible. Okay. So that was one of the people, they had questions. Someone else sent me a couple hours ago some other questions. And one of them was, why do some people bruise easier than others? There's a couple reasons for that. I mean, the first thing, you think bruising. Dr. Cass Ingram touted oil of oregano, but he died. Oil of oregano is so potent. I've been using it in oil format for years for mouth stuff. And it's like, you can use the oil that has black seed in it, so it does smell different than just straight oregano oil. I use straight oregano oil in water, in my water pick as well. I'll put it on my toothbrush just to kill any of the bacteria in my mouth. Doing oil of oregano liquid along with black walnut and wormwood. Nice. Yeah. So oil of oregano can also take care of parasites for the most part, but you're not going to get the level, I think, of die-off as quickly if you just do oil of oregano. Wormwood is good. Walnut is good. So yeah, Animal Owners Alliance. That's a good combination. Okay, so the bruising. The first thing you think is iron, right? Anemic. And that's true for some people. You can be iron deficient and bruise really easily. Bruising happens when your small blood vessels break under the skin, right? Some people have fragile capillaries. When you get older, you're going to bruise, like older, like in your 70s or 80s, you're probably going to bruise a little bit more. It can happen from age. It can happen from vitamin C or vitamin K deficiency as well. Need to get the activated charcoal. Yeah, get some of that, especially if you're doing parasites. Holy cow. Like, that's a must. And then extra water. The other thing that can cause fragile capillaries is steroid use. So prednisone, and doctors love to prescribe that stuff for people with chronic inflammation. Platelet or clotting issues can actually cause bruising. So I always try to stay on vitamin D3 plus K2 because of clotting stuff. Now, I had to be on blood thinners for a while because when I had my not the port, they had a central in me, it clotted and it dropped the clot near my lung. So they had emergency, like, pulled that central IV out, stuck me on blood thinners, and then put in a PICC line. I'm sorry, it was a PICC line. It wasn't the port. So they pulled the PICC, they put the port in, which less chances of blood clots. And I didn't have any problems with the blood clots after that, but I had to stay on the blood thinners and I bruised. I mean, you could just touch me and I would bruise. Can't take vitamin K when you're doing that. So if you know someone and they bruise easily, the first thing to ask, like, are you on blood thinners? Because you should see the bruises my dad gets. He's on blood thinners because he has AFib. And blood clots from AFib are pretty common, so they make him stay on that stuff. If you have liver stress or liver distress or chronic viral infections like hepatitis, like Epstein-Barr reactivated, that will reduce your clotting factors and then make you bruise easier. Autoimmune conditions or connective tissue disorders like lupus, you're gonna bruise more than the average bear. It's just the way it goes. So those are the things that I would be looking at if someone was like, why am I bruising? Check your vitamins. If you're not on, especially if you just had a baby, like anemia after giving birth is fairly common. right? Really common on top of being vitamin deficient postpartum. And we take these prenatal vitamins to make sure the baby's growing, but like, do you think about your own health and your own body's condition, especially postpartum? For me, I hemorrhaged both times I gave birth, and I mean, I looked horrible. I bruised like crazy. My hair fell out. Like, I had a lot of stuff going on, and I know my Epstein Barr reactivated, giving birth to both my girls. So D3, K2, the K is always going to help clotting. Anytime y'all are having problems with clotting, you're K deficient. And if you're K deficient, chances are you're D deficient as well. All right. The next question that I got had to do with Epstein-Barr and PCOS, the connection. So Epstein-Barr has absolutely been studied as an immune trigger for PCOS that worsens metabolic and ovarian inflammation. Did you guys know that? Like, women have more, I think, chronic conditions from Epstein-Barr, or they show up more than they do in men. Not that men don't have Epstein-Barr, they do, but it's more so I see chronic conditions with women, autoimmune conditions with women. And definitely a tie to the ovarian inflammation. It's not proven in studies to be the cause of PCOS. However, they have said that Epstein-Barr reactivation absolutely can create an increase of systemic inflammation. It can cause insulin resistance. It can worsen your fatigue. It can create cortisol dysregulation, and thyroid stress, all of which make PCOS symptoms harder to manage. Other strong drivers of PCOS is insulin resistance, chronic stress, sleep disturbances, insomnia. So you're just not getting enough sleep, gut dysbiosis, and then androgen excess. So you've got to manage your blood sugar. Make sure you're eating properly. You're not eating inflammatory foods. Stress support, super important, because that will help. If you've got your stress managed, your PCOS is not going to be as bad. And if you get the viruses under control, definitely going to help you. A lot of PCOS people, POTS people, people with endometriosis, like, there's all these ties. And one of the main recurring viruses that I see with PCOS is, in fact, Epstein-Barr. So if you have a way to work on that, work on it. Take the oregano oil. It's amazing at knocking it back. Now, I use Rife and biomagnetism therapy first, always to calm the terrain. Like, calm your body, rebalance everything, set your internal terrain up so that your immune system can operate properly, so your gut goes back into balance, right? That's the first step. And then I follow it with Rife, and 24/7, we're knocking it back. And then breaking biofilms and going after the funguses and the parasites and whatever co-infections with bacteria is going on. So there are ways naturally that you can actually take care of it. Antivirals, typically, I've yet to see anyone with Epstein-Barr and antiviral like that it just leaves forever. It typically will go dormant and hide in the tissues, hide in reservoirs, and then reactivate if you get some sort of other infection like strep or staph or COVID or blah, 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 blah. All right. And then the final one that they asked about was heart failure from blocked arteries. Like, can you fix that? Or what? I think that was the question. And whoever sent that to me, you know who you are. You can clearly explain to me what you wanted to know about that. I will tell you this about someone who's experienced ischemic heart failure. They will do heart surgery, right? angioplasty, stents, bypass surgery. They'll put you on medication that like helps reduce the strain on your heart. Beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, right? Diuretics sometimes. The main thing to make sure if you've had heart failure to lengthen your life and create a better life and not continue to assault your damn heart. First thing, address what you're eating and clean up your liver. Because, and this is true with almost every single condition that we struggle with, our livers are overloaded. Your liver is responsible for, yes, helping you digest your food, but it's also the factory that makes your immune cells. It's also the factory that clears and cleans your blood. The liver is one of, I think, aside from the heart and the brain, most important organs, and we ignore it and we abuse it. We drink alcohol, we eat processed foods, we put a bunch of crap into our livers and expect it just to keep up. That's like shoving a bunch of paper towels into a toilet and expecting it to continually flush. It will eventually back up. Well, heart and liver are deeply tied together. And so we have to look at, what are we eating? If you are eating whole foods, vegetables, low inflammation foods that are rich in vegetables, rich in fruits, not refined carbs, refined sugars, and all of that. If you are active, even if it's gentle activity, and you have stress management in place, you're going to do far better, right? Control your blood sugars. If you control your blood sugars, your heart is not going to have to work quite so hard either. There are supplements that are typical recommended for someone who has heart problems. CoQ10, magnesium, omega-3s. I prefer that we get these things from our food so that they're actually bioavailable and not just pop a bunch of pills. Now, our foods are, in a lot of ways, they don't hold the same level of nutrition that we used to because our soil's been contaminated and stripped. That doesn't mean that you can't get it from food. You might still need to supplement, but if you're going to supplement with something that, especially with heart, something that's going to oxygenate your blood, right? Like spirulina, chlorella, blue-green algae, things like that, that actually help give your blood more oxygen, allows your system to work more at peak. Those are peak fuel things. My dad took CoQ10 for I don't know how many years, and I was like, stop taking it and tell me if it makes a difference. Didn't make a damn bit of difference. Damn bit of difference. And I know a lot of doctors will say, oh no, you need it. Yeah, CoQ10 wasn't around as a supplement before 20 years ago. It wasn't something that we were told to take. Address whatever caused your heart problems, and untreated viruses and pathogens absolutely can drive heart failure. Address what's going on in your liver. Clean it up, and then you'll live longer with less problems. The heart can heal, but once you've had surgery or you've had stents or bypass, stuff like that, the heart's already weak from its original, like how it originally was created. So doesn't mean that you can't heal. You can, but you can't drink the same. You can't be doing the same stuff that you were doing before. So heart repair and healing from heart problems absolutely is possible, but we have to look at our emotional. Are we talking things out? Are we angry all the time? If someone's angry all the time, you got to look at what's going on with their liver too. If you've had medical repair done to your heart, then you definitely should be doing your part in strengthening your heart. B vitamins, a lot of people are B deficient as well. I had said on the one video I did, I take this supplement and it has a bunch of different things. It's secret elements, sea moss, with black seed oil, ashwagandha, ginger, and a whole lot of other things that are immune stimulators. They build the immune system. There's like 92 minerals in this stuff. Andy, who's on here, he started taking it. You can feel the difference immediately from an energy standpoint, from a brain standpoint. These are all really good things in one supplement. And I'm more supplement light than I am supplement heavy. I think we can tax our liver by taking too many supplements. So we got to take the right ones, and the right ones for what we're dealing with, right? One of the other things, and they changed the name of the formula. So anyone who's got lymph drainage issues, liver and intestinal detox issues, or any kind of vein vascular insufficiency, this Life Extensions is, they changed the name of the formula, but this is called Youthful Legs. I'll tell you what's in it, because it used to be the supplement name for it, and I think they weren't selling enough, so they changed the names. So the ingredients are, hold on. Do you guys list the ingredients in here? No, I have to go to the website. Why don't they tell you? Hold on. It's so dumb. It's on their website, but of course it's not on here. This is good for lymph drainage. Hold on, and I'll tell you what's in it. And I was looking for something to help with lymphatic drainage. I know on TikTok there's like a bunch of stuff. Take the Mary Ruth's whatever lymphatic. That is more of a mild detox of lymphs, and because I'm doing a major kill, I'm like, no, I actually need something that's going to help with lymphatic drainage and quick, because I'm killing so much off. So hold on. God, I hate the way that companies do their websites anymore. Tell me what's in this. Diosmin, that's the one. This is a diosmin compound, and it comes from sweet orange peel extract. And it also has, if I remember, so it's got 450 milligrams of diosmin, and then it's got 50 milligrams of hesperidin, which helps get your lymphs to drain. This, they say it's for legs, right? For people with like funky veins. What are they called? When your veins get big. My brain's having like a issue. This helps with circulation in your leg veins. It promotes supposedly healthy YouTube. Elaine does lymphatic drainage exercises. Yeah, lymphatic exercise drainage is good. Varicose. There it is. Thank you, Michelle. I'm not telling y'all not to do lymphatic drainage. There are tons of videos about helping with lymphatic drainage. The reason that you need a supplement to help like this is because you're not just talking lymphatic drainage. The diosmin is known to help with liver detoxing when you have a die-off going on. It is good for clearing the blood when you're clearing pathogens, parasites, viruses, bacteria, fungus, right? And it helps keep the blood moving. So it's great for veins. For me, I didn't buy it for the Youthful Legs. In fact, when I saw it, I was like, what did they do? Because I was looking for used to have one called diosmin. That was what it was called, diosmin, with the whatever it was called. God dang it, I have such a hard time with some of these names. Hesperidin. They used to have Diosmin with hesperidin, but they changed the name. So when I looked, I'm like, what? And this kept coming up, youthful legs. I'm like, I don't care about youthful legs. I care about lymph drainage. I care about lymph detox. I care about liver detox. And then I looked up the ingredients. I'm like, oh, so it is those ingredients, those two main things. That's what makes up this. And it works. But they changed the name, probably because people weren't buying it just based on that. They didn't know what to use Diasmin for. Yeah, now I'm going to get youthful legs too. So for people that have had any kind of vascular problem, vein insufficiency, heart problems even, this is really good. But if you're doing a die-off of any kind, or you know that you've got a sluggish liver, a fatty liver, you've got problems draining your lymphatics, this is more of a support and sort of instigator to get your lymphs to drain. Literally. I just finally got it a few days ago, and I have noticed that I am actually going to the bathroom more and peeing more, which is great because I have felt very puffy. Like when you retain fluid, you retain lymphatic fluid and whatnot. I love Life Extension. I am a diehard on certain brands when I know they're clean and I know that their labs all come back good. I'm really like, once I find a company and they haven't had any strikes against them, I'll stick with them because not all supplements are made the same way at all. There are some companies that are like, and like, I'm not saying anything's wrong with Mary Ruth's lymphatic support tincture, but like, it's $25 for a little bottle and it's not as activating as the ingredients in this. This is for more severe, I guess you would say more extreme lymphatic drainage. And that is what I'm going for. I am trying very hard after surgery, chemo, prednisone, radiation to get all this stuff out of me. Plus I'm in a major pathogen kill right now. So my body needs all the help it can get to move these toxins out. And I know that my lymphatics were not clearly dropping and draining because I was getting really sick when I went through a major die-off just a couple weeks ago. Like I was dizzy, I was nauseous. I was like, oh, this is not good. When you do some sort of a pathogen kill, a virus kill, a parasite kill, a bacterial kill, and your liver and your lymphs can't keep up, you will end up with a Herxheimer effect, a healing crisis kind of effect, a detox effect, where your body's just not detoxing it. So it's dumping all this die-off and all these toxins into the bloodstream, and your liver and kidneys are reabsorbing and then having to process it again. So you get super tired because the neurotoxins that come off of the die-off are back in your bloodstream. So your body's having to process through it, not once, but twice. So I'm like, all right, I need to help my body get rid of this. And I do use binders like activated charcoal. You can use zeolite. You can use bentonite clay. I'm not a big fan of bentonite clay because it does cause constipation. And like I have some, but it stays in my cupboard. Very rarely will I use bentonite clay in my detox baths. Taking it internally, I do not do it. I did it before and I was constipated for days. So if you're looking to even use your bath, right, to help detox through the skin is a detox organ. You can mix salt, bentonite clay, baking soda. Those are all really good to pull. And I use Epsom salt because it's got magnesium in it too, to pull out the toxins in that heat where your pores are opening up. It helps a lot to get things to come out. Some people will go through like a die-off when they're going through rife like me, and they'll have breakouts on their skin, and like get into the bath. Like help your body detox from all of the die off. Because when we go after things, and if you're taking something like this, you're taking the oregano oil, you might feel shitty. You might feel worse before you feel better. That is perfectly normal too. Like, I really want people to understand this. You can go to a biomagnetism session and you'll feel like crap afterwards. Now, sometimes that's because it balanced some things, but it also created some die off. But typically, one session biomagnetism is not going to get rid of all of your stuff. People that think one and done, it doesn't work like that. Even with Rife, I would love to be able to tell everyone I can fix all of this 30 days, 24/7. It doesn't work like that. I mean, I know with Lyme and Morgellons, it can take upwards of 6 months to go through all of the co-infections, all of the layer upon layer upon layer. The way that I work, we go after the big stuff like parasites and some of the viruses up front. Then we go to a biofilm breaker because some of these pathogens will create a protective coating around them. You can't get to the viruses or the bacteria if they're in that protective coating called a biofilm. You have to break the biofilm. And there aren't a lot that you can take over the counter that's going to do that. Dissolve that biofilm to get to the inside where those pathogens are still growing and still affecting your body. So we got to break the biofilm and then kill again. And I go through that cycle multiple times in a month with clients. And it's a constant cleanup work. Like, I'm running the kills and then I'm running a detox support, knowing that their body's got to get rid of all of this stuff. And it does it through your bladder, your kidneys and bladder. It does it through your digestion, does it through your skin. Any which way your body can get rid of pathogens, it's going to get rid of. And so when we're talking about all these different conditions, we have to look at, are your detox pathways open? And unfortunately, in the world we live in, a lot of people's aren't. They don't drink enough water, right? You eat things that are making it harder for your liver to clear. And if you have these reactivated viruses or chronic pathogens in your body's working hard just to keep your heart pumping, your brain working. And if you have chronic fatigue, chances are, like, if you're chronically tired, you're chronically running out of energy, something's going on. I don't care how old you are. Something's going on. We just got to clean it up. Right now, if you're like 95, 100 years old, that's a different story. But those people don't watch me on YouTube, so I'm not talking to them. With my dad, I've told him, like, you still can get so much done. As you get older in your upper years, 80 and beyond, you do lose muscle mass, right? You lose muscle mass. So you're not as strong. But here's an interesting thing. My dad was a lot of parasites and such make you want to eat crappy food and sugar. Oh my God, candida, right? Yeast and certain parasites absolutely make you crave sugar, alcohol, gluten, right? Bread, pastas, all. If you have those cravings, chocolate, if you have cravings like that and you cannot overcome those cravings, look at parasites, look at candida, because they feed on that stuff. So it makes you crave it because they're hungry. Like, eat, Seymour. Anywho, my dad was working on something with our fence a couple weeks back. And the neighbor across the street, who's a Vietnam vet he connected with some months ago, he noticed he was struggling to crank down a bolt on his fence because he was leveling his fence gate. My dad walked over there and he goes, "Do you need some help?" And he goes, "I don't know what's the deal. I can't crank it down." And they started talking. My dad goes, "Here, let me help you." And he helped him. And he goes, "Man, you must be 10 years younger than me." My dad goes, "How old are you?" 75. My dad's going to be 84 at the end of this month. This guy thought that my dad was younger than him. What's the difference? I work with my dad constantly on his health. He walks all the time. He drinks a ton of water. He has to because he had throat cancer, and they damaged his saliva glands during his radiation. So he doesn't have normal spit. He's got to drink water to keep his mouth moist. He drinks plenty of water. He doesn't drink anything else. Once in a while, like he'll drink coffee, but he only drinks 1 cup of coffee. He doesn't drink soda, none of that. And I keep him on a fairly healthy diet, right? And then he's active doing yard work and all kinds of stuff. He's not as strong as he was 20 years ago. Definitely become weaker. His muscles have lost some of their elasticity, and he's lost some of his strength as he's gotten older. But he's really does well because I stay on him about his cravings. I'm actually been working on him for a week now with candida. He finally is letting me deal with his candida. I'm like, stop eating sugar, stop eating bread, stop eating all this processed garbage that I see you going into Costco and buying and then hiding in your room and calling it a snack. Oh, but it's a protein bar. Read the ingredients. Those protein bars, like, look how much sugar is in this. I was listening to Dr. Robert Lustig, who's written a book, like several books about sugar and diet and disease and stuff. Let me get to that one. That's a good question, Sandy. And he was saying, like, if you can't wash it, right? Wash it or cook whatever out of it, like the blood and stuff like that, you shouldn't be eating it. Like if it comes out of a box, you shouldn't be eating it. It's not real food. You should, with our food, it should be something we can wash, we can cook out of, like meat, fish, right? Things that are living. If it was never alive to begin with and it was just created in some lab kitchen, it's probably not good for you. Our wheat, our flour has become genetically modified for God only knows how many years now. Ask Monsanto, they know because they're the ones that did it. And that has caused so many issues with insulin resistance and chronic inflammation. People just keep eating it. Keep eating it. Cheese. Some cheeses are okay. Goat cheese, that's okay. Like feta, that's an okay cheese. But your typical American made cheese has so much garbage in it. I'm not saying avoid it completely. Some of the cheeses are good and they're healthy. I like buying European cheeses because they don't have all of the ingredients that we put into our cheeses to make them stay on the shelf. Those things make us inflamed and cause problems. I get the same thing at Sprouts. People think I'm in my 40s, not 60s. Thanks to the guidance from Bernadette over the past couple of years, I feel the difference. Yeah. It's not like the explosion of illness in our country is not for nothing. Like, our environment is in fact toxic. We know this. We should know this. If you haven't watched the shows on the documentaries that have been done on Netflix, like What the Health, Food Incorporated, like go watch them. You'll be disgusted, right? You'll be disgusted. Deli meats, horrible, horrible cancer producing foods. People eat beef jerky and they're like, but that's meat. Okay, until you process the living hell out of it. And then it became something else that your body cannot digest properly. It's turning to inflammation. It's making your body inflamed. And then when your body gets inflamed like that, your body can't produce enough immunity to the things that it actually is facing when it comes to viruses and bacterias. And we got a lot of those roaming around, right? Like you would think we would be healthier now in 2025, but instead we're not. I mean, we've got water, we've got plumbing. Why is our food lacking? Is it because our soil sucks? Is it because we spray our fruits with waxy crap to make them last? And then we call it organic apeel or whatever the hell they're calling it these days. I changed the names. There's like 50 different types of sugar, sweeteners. It's insane. It's insane. Insane. You can reset your palate too so that you can have more sweet things like fruits and certain vegetables and actually taste them and enjoy them and not crave the crappy sugars if you reset your palate by eating healthy. It's not that hard. It really isn't. We've overcomplicated it, and fast food has made things horrible. Think about this. China, Japan, South Korea, they were always thinner, healthier, right? Until they started getting things like Sam's Club is in China and South Korea and Walmart's. They started getting Subways. McDonald's went international. McDonald's has so much sugar in their foods. Oh my God. In their meats and their burgers and their fries, like, holy crap. Anywho, those countries were not facing as much chronic illness and inflammation and autoimmune disorders until they started eating more American Western diets. That should tell you everything you need to know. On top of a bunch of the stuff that the FDA here approves, Europe, Canada, and Asia have said, no, you can't have that in your foods here. Like, we won't allow that in our country. It's a known carcinogen. It's a known problem. But here in the US, money rules. So the food companies get it passed. The American diet's killing everyone. Seriously. Like, for real. For real. We started eating Asian. This is our second week. I'm not sticking straight to Asian. I'm kind of mixing whole food diet with the Asian diet. But it's amazing how much my body is responding to eating differently for breakfast and having more hot foods and like porridge, and I'm eating broth type stuff in the morning, soups with vegetables in it for breakfast. You know, Asia doesn't eat as many eggs as we eat, and definitely not the carb load that we start the day with, which is crazy to me. Like, you need more protein at the start of the day, not carbs. And yet, what do we feed our kids? Cereal, milk. I mean, dairy's known. A big part of dairy is known to cause inflammation. And personally, I would rather drink goat's milk if I had to. I drink almond milk and coconut milk if I need milk for something, rather than, I've never been a milk person. Not to say I don't like ice cream. I do. But I'm more about sherbets and stuff like that if I want to eat some sort of frozen treat. Anywho, so yeah. Did that answer your questions, Sandy, Bobby, like the ones who sent in questions? And did that help the rest of you? It's kind of eye-opening when we look at these conditions, I think. And this is normally, like I said, normally I do these health sessions where we break down what the pathogen drivers are in Hidden Wisdom, because that's part of the stuff we've been doing over there. And we do it on Zoom so that people can ask questions and engage. But today I thought, you know what, we'll just do it on live. We'll let other people in, because these are some interesting conditions that people wanted to know. Miss Denise, what's up? It answered your questions. Good. Okay, cool. Denise, you're at the tail end. I feel bad. At the tail end. I did a TikTok live earlier. We were talking about a bunch of stuff, and you came at the end of that one too. Interesting times we're in. For real. Like, yeah. If any of you have questions, though, while I'm here, just ask. I'm so glad to see you, though, Fran. I'm so glad to see you, Denise. It's been a long time. Is it Jang? Hi, hello, welcome. Um, I'm not going to do the health stuff on lives because, like, unless I get some inclination that someone out there needs to hear what I have to say. I've been making content about the health stuff. So if you guys look back at my videos or go to my blog, either on my website or on Substack, I write a lot about this stuff to help y'all, right? Um, my lives going forward is going to be really more geared toward, I think, just the energies that's going on. I mean, we're all having to keep our head above water right now. It's a lot happening very rapidly, very, very quickly. Keeping your mindset right, keeping yourself grounded, and having tips and tricks to keep yourself elevated without ignoring what's happening. Like, we all have to go through this. I was talking about that on my live today, like my whole cancer journey and how spirit sort of set it up for me and explained it to me that this was my deconstruction phase so that I would be reminded what it's like to go through this stuff as a beginner, spiritually speaking, right? It is rough. It is. And I'd be lying if I told y'all, oh, yeah, I bounce out of bed every morning and it's all good. No, I don't. My eyes open. I'm like, okay, here's another day. And I sit with spirit for the first part of my day and ask about what the day is going to unfold into or what I need to focus on, right? Then I journal and I make sure that whatever in me is feeling funky gets acknowledged. You can't ignore how you feel or what you're thinking. I go over my dreams from the night before and then I get to work. And the day always unfolds in the most perfect ways. But anymore, especially with the immense amount of crap we're being hit with every hour of every day right now, it's like an onslaught, nonstop attack of propaganda. And October, that's what this whole month, when I was talking to Hidden Wisdom in the monthly forecast, this is the month of media manipulation and propaganda. Just so y'all know, since I'm out here with the Hidden Wisdom stuff anyways on a live. And if you don't know what that is, go check it out. I'll put up the link to my website of where you can find that. But October, it's a bunch, like the whole month. Lies, manipulation through the media blitz. So the good news about that is knowing that most of what the mainstream media is throwing at you is not going to be truth. Okay. Oh no, it amplifies this month, Denise. I know it has been. It's been that, but it literally, the planets are set to where they've got a big amplification. So we're going to hear a lot of scary things in the news. And I mean, I heard all kind of stuff with Donald Trump today that I was like, what is that about? Wanting to make free speech not a thing anymore. Like, we got to remove your free speech. No, you don't. You don't get to rewrite the Constitution without the Congress being involved and the people's voice being involved. Like, you don't get to write rules. It's stuff like that I want you guys to know. That sort of trying to drive and provoke fear in you, you disregard. Just disregard it. I swear sometimes I think it's just to silence us and just to exhaust us so that we won't fight back and say, no, that's wrong. No, that's not legal. No, that's not right. Do not believe most of what you hear. Well, probably all of what you hear anymore. I mean, from mainstream, they're only giving you some things. And it's like everybody's repeating themselves. I see it on social media, even with independent journalists. It's like one person covers it, everybody covers it. It's like, oh, so you're just getting it from the news. You're not actually, investigating on your own as to what's going on behind the scenes. We already know what's happening in the news if we want to know from the news. But from an independent standpoint, we got to dig deeper. What's really going on? What's really the point to all of this? Knowing that it's a bunch of BS, just let it be. Don't let it knock you down. Don't let it get to you. It's going to be amplified all month. All month. The manipulation through the media, that is the energy this month. They're not covering the news as it used to be. No, they're not. Um, and just know, like, the biggest part that I would say is so important right now, and what I was talking to Spirit about this morning, really, they keep driving home, create community, even if it's just online. I mean, things have gotten very disconnected since the lockdowns, but more so from this last election. People are just divided. So, okay, I get that. Find your community, find your tribe, whether it's here or whatever. I was telling people on my TikTok live today, like, I'm trying to find a place where everyone can gather and chat. Discord's not for everybody. Substack chat seems to be the easiest way to go about putting everyone in one place right now. Um, there are plans, I think, for Skylight to create community chats so that everybody can kind of connect with one another. You know, that is one thing I liked about Facebook was the groups, but um Facebook's a ghost town. But it was nice to have a group. You could create a community group in Facebook, but none of us really want to be on Meta because Meta's kind of screwed up. So as things evolve, we'll figure it out. You know, the platform over on TikTok will be there for a while. Just to clear that up too, because people have asked me, China has not confirmed a sale of TikTok. They have said that China approved whatever terms of the sale, but they have not. After Trump went on and said Oracle's buying it, blah, blah, blah. Now I get the algorithms changed. I get you're seeing a bunch of G-rated BS on your feed and nonsense. However, this until China confirms it, TikTok themselves confirm, I don't buy it. We have heard nothing from CEO Xu. We've heard nothing out of China in their newspapers. They have not confirmed any sale. There's still obstacles that the US has to overcome to make that go through. So I will still be out there, but I have to be very careful because I'm one violation away from my entire account disappearing. And they seem to nail me, and they're not showing my content even to my followers. So I am posting everywhere else, YouTube included, Facebook included for now. I just want a place where we can all connect. If you want to come into my internal containers like Hidden Wisdom, we do have a Facebook group that I do post in for them, but all of your stuff's on my website, easy access. Nothing's been signed, only Trump's been talking. So it must be true. It's not. I mean, yeah. He's trying to make it seem like he's done all these great big things, and really you have not. And if you're going to monopolize another social media platform, you think we're going to cheer that on? Like, we all miss old TikTok. Just saying. Skylight and Blue Sky seems to be where everybody's migrating to, but Skylight's still new and they still got issues. And Blue Sky's more of like a Twitter than it is a video platform. You don't see a lot of the people. You know what, Denise, what's interesting is even people that are my followers, they don't see my stuff even on their friends. When you click on friends, not the For You page, the only way they see it is if they go to my profile. I've heard that from like 10 people. I don't see your post unless I actually click on your profile. Then I see your post. And I'm like, yeah, that does not surprise me. Now, I was in the creator rewards for about 3 weeks. And as of today, I got out of that on TikTok because they're not showing my videos. So I'm like, okay, now let's do the test. Now that they don't have any chance of having to pay me for those videos, will they start showing my content again? Because my views got floored, completely floored. I'm like, yeah, I'm not playing this game. So there's that. Weirdly, though, today during the day, my live was doing pretty good. Like we had 30 something people in the room, which is the first time in a long time that my live actually went out onto the For You. So I will still do stuff on TikTok as I can. I just have to be so careful. Like I don't want to lose my 10,600 followers, you know. And I like TikTok. I have a backup account. I don't post over there anymore, but this whole control what we see and what we hear thing is real. So those are things we have to be aware of. And with the health stuff, I have to be super careful because the last violation on a live I got was from talking about health stuff. That's why I'm doing it here on YouTube and Facebook because they don't seem to have a problem with it. So, anyways, bye, Animal Alliance. It's good to see you. I'm getting ready to go too. I'm ready for a break. I'm tired. It's been a long day. I hope tonight opened your eyes to some stuff. If you are like Sandy and Bobby, biomagnetism practitioner, someone that does Rife, someone who's interested in taking control of your health, hopefully tonight helped you. If you want to go deeper into more of the conditions that we've covered, get into Hidden Wisdom, $40 a month. And those health replays are there. And this one will go up into there as well. So you're welcome, Muse. It's good to have you. I appreciate you. You guys have a good evening. We're halfway through the week. We're almost there. We're almost 2 days left. 2 days left to get through the work week. And then it's the weekend. So breathe. Have a good one. I'll see you guys later.